Hello. Well, I reckon there are still a few characters that Slime and Ned haven't been to see yet. So let's see who he's going to talk to next. Bottom Banger. Madame Silenzio Sloth was the island's piano teacher. You might reasonably assume that a piano teacher taught the piano. In this case, you'd be wrong. Sloth was the idlest music teacher in history. The lady would go to the most extraordinary lengths to avoid having to teach any of the children on the island anything. Whenever Ned reluctantly rolled himself over to Madame Sloth's house for his weekly lesson, she would not utter a single word to him. Instead, she would look at him haughtily and open her hand to be paid. Once her palm had been crossed with silver, she would waddle over to her old gramophone and put on a recording she had made of her giving a piano lesson. This was just in case any grown-ups were passing by her house and heard what she was really up to, which was, of course, nothing. "Now, child, let Madame Sloth hear those scales one more time," the voice on the crackly old record would say. Then you would hear the sound of a piano keys being struck. Plonk, plonk, plonk. Once the illusion had been created, Madame Sloth would take an hour-long snooze on the chaise lounge, which is like one of those long sofas here we can see her on. The only way she would wake herself up in that time was with one of her own bottom bangers. Ba-boom! They were as thunderous as a Wagner opera. If her bottom bangers didn't wake her, an ornate gold carriage clock on her mantelpiece would chime to tell her the hour was up and her lesson was over. Ching! How was Madame Sloth allowed to get away with this? Because Greta Greed did nothing about it. In fact, she encouraged it. Anything that brought children misery was fine by her. Because Ned never learned a thing about playing the piano in his years of enduring Madame Sloth's piano lessons. He would be sent off to have more and more lessons. One day when his mother returned home from the fish market, Ned told her what was really happening in those lessons. Nothing, nout, nada, nothing, diddly squat. Of course, being a grown-up, Ned's mother didn't believe him, just like all the other grown-ups on the island. Madame Sloth had bamboozled the woman into thinking she was the most fantabulous piano teacher in the world. Aside from her gramophone scam, Madame Sloth had a trio of nasty tricks up the sleeve of her long, flowery blouse. If a child dared to complain about the daylight robbery, Madame Sloth would open the piano lid and shut the nasty little wretch inside. Clang! That way, Madame Sloth could carry on with her precious snooze undisturbed. "Let me out!" If a child attempted to grass her up to their parents, in the next lesson, Madame Sloth would turn the piano stool upside down and make them perch on one of the legs for the full hour. Ouch. If a child was so bold as to wake Madame Sloth up from one of her snoozes, they would be held upside down by their ankles and forced to play the piano with their nose. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Plonk, plonk, plonk. One time, Ned couldn't take any more of this nonsense, as Madame Sloth lay on the sofa, snoring and bottom banging. He shouted, "This is the end. I am never ever coming to one of your stupid piano lessons ever again." Needless to say, the piano teacher woke up in a foul mood. Without a word, Sloth walked out of the piano room and into the kitchen. As Ned sat on the piano stool, bemused, she returned, clutching not one, not two, not three, but 6 tins of baked beans. One by one, she ripped them open and guzzled them down in seconds like some kind of strongman at a fair. Her tummy began making the most disturbing sounds, like a boiler that was about to explode. Oh, I think I might know what's going to happen here. "I need to go," announced Ned. "Just one moment," replied Sloth. Next, she shuffled over to the boy. From the way she shuffled, it was clear she was clenching her cheeks together. Not her top cheeks, her bottom cheeks. Then as soon as her behind was close to Ned's nose, she unclenched. "No!" cried the boy. Sloth let off the most explosive bottom banger of all time. Kaboom. The force of the blast was enough to blow Ned straight out of the window. Whoosh! Needless to say, Ned was in no doubt as to how much he and all the children of the island had suffered at the hands of this monstrous woman. He knew that he would be doing them all a favour by teaching the teacher a lesson. The question was, how? I wonder what Slime and Ned are going to do. I reckon it's probably got something to do with the piano. And a little clue, the next chapter is called Dance to the Music of Slime. Goodbye.